Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. Today on the show, we've got Travis Scott selling sneakers and rocking WWE championships, the latest in our Kobe brand agenda, the next Nike football signature line that needs a retro, the week's hottest releases, and of course, we have our Hard Pass. All right, let's start the show with some hot takes. It's kind of like a thing that we do here. On last week's show, we dedicated an entire hard pass to the upcoming Nike Kobe 6 Grinch cleats and how it was a test balloon for the viability of a Mamba brand that crosses over to other sports a la the Jumpman. Well, the cleats should have released by time you watch this, and if you bought a pair, you might notice it looks a little different. That's because official images for the cleats didn't release until after we posted last week's episode, and they look again, a little different. It's a slimmer looking silhouette overall thanks to swapping of the midsole to the full footplate. Beyond that and a few aesthetic changes like placement of the Kobe signature, it looks strikingly similar to the on-court model. Not only that, USC has also revealed their PE versions of the cleats, and the word is that the Dodger Kobe 6 in non-cleat form is set to drop in 2025. Yes, the Mamba Takeover is officially on. Between the cleats, last year's announcement that there will be designated college basketball programs that are Kobe schools, the ramping up of Protros being released, and the reported drop of an Air Force One that's inspired by Kobe's sneaker free agency era, we might finally be getting ready to retire one of our favorite bits on the show. You know, it's the make more Kobe Protros, John Donahoe, and not just because John doesn't work there anymore. Speaking of cleats, Washington's Mike Sandersteele wore a pair inspired by the Nike Zoom Vick 2. Now, that's a line that needs to come back at some point. The whole Vick line is kind of underrated and feel like it's been lost to time except for the most diehard of fans and sneakerheads. However, with Vick branching out on his own, that includes sneakers from his own brand dropping in 2025, we might be in for a long wait, not unlike what we had between Nike and Deion Sanders prior to Coach Prime arriving at Colorado. My advice to Nike: don't get cute and retro the Vick line without Vick's blessing. They might have the IP, but without Vick's okay, it won't feel right. Just like Diamond Turfs without Prime's blessing felt wrong, and that one time Jordan Brand bought back the Superfeeks without Randy Moss's number. That was a crime against sneakers. We'll wait until the time's right and just enjoy these customs. In the latest saga between Nike and Shoe Surgeon has responded to the lawsuit, stating that he has never made a Nike shoe from scratch, as in from only raw materials or even a non-Nike shoe, but instead always starts with an authentic Nike shoes already bought from Nike, then customizes them. He also says that the classes he teaches, which is part of the lawsuit, does not encourage making a Nike shoe from anything besides a Nike shoe. Also in the response, Surgeon says that despite Nike sending him a letter in August 2023 addressing their concerns, they still continue to work together on one-off projects, including the all-white Travis Scott Air Jordan 1s that were used for the Michael Rubin White Party this year. Surgeon also claims to have spoken with Jordan Brand VP of Entertainment Marketing and that he was told not to worry. 11 days after the party, Surgeon was hit with the lawsuit. Stay tuned for more as this develops, because this is getting interesting. Anyway, last week we talked about Patrick Mahomes getting the rare opportunity to see his signature logo on the uniform of his alma mater. Well, it turns out he wasn't the only one who was supposed to get that honor this football season, because reportedly there was a collaboration between Oregon and Travis Scott that would have seen Jacques' signature logo pop up on one of the many uniform variants the Ducks rock throughout a given year. It should be noted that Travis is not an Oregon alum, but the University of Texas San Antonio, a school Travis did attend, is currently in Adidas school, so can't really make that happen at the moment. It would be interesting if we saw Cactus Jack branding on a school, though. It would show how much power and clout Travis has currently, that he's been able to do something that very few athletes have actually ever done. Steven Smith, he signed up with Crocs, becoming their new head of creative innovation. Smith, as many sneakerheads know, was the creative mind behind sneakers like the New Balance 574, 997, and 1500, the Fila GH2, the Reebok Instapump Fury, the Nike Shock Monster, a shoe that actually needs a retro in the current Shock revival that Nike is pursuing, by the way, the Nike Air Spiridon Cage 2, and most recently, the Yeezys y'all love. If Smith's track record is anything to go by, Crocs, they signed a ringer. And if you don't believe me, check out these quotes from Smith to Fast Company after he split from Kanye, which, depending on who you believe, was either a matter of Kanye firing Smith or Smith being tired of Kanye's yayness. I'm in a very happy place with it all, and I will certainly be a priceless asset to whoever I work with next. It's all his loss and the result of his foolishness. Oh, and then here's the one that I think about a lot. The whole of Yeezy is circling the drain, and this is just part of it. He has surrounded himself with toxic C-grade losers. Wow. It's a lot of Barbara Kruger calling Supreme a bunch of totally uncool jokers energy, and I gotta say, I'm not mad at it. Here's hoping Smith can use his magic touch to elevate Crocs to even greater heights, and Yeezy, well, let's just hope Kanye knows what he's doing on all fronts. Also, happy Fox Day, everybody. December 6th is the new sneaker date that I guess we will all have to remember if De'Aaron Fox's signature shoe with Curry brand takes off. The debut colorway of the Curry Fox 1, which is still kind of weird to say, but really isn't that much different from saying Jordan Zion 3 or whatever, is designed to make the orange signature foxtail midfoot strap stand out opposite the shoe's all blue upper. A lot of people are also commenting on the similarities to the Nike Zoom KD4, and I have to say it's not totally a one-to-one, but I can see why people would make the comparison, unlike the 10,000 other times Nike makes a low-cut basketball shoe and everybody says they're just Kobe's as if there was no low-cut basketball shoes before or since Mamba. Anyway, congrats to Fox, happy Fox Day, and hopefully someone at Curry Brand is calling up the Mozilla people to do a Firefox collab sooner rather than later. The hottest sneaker of 2035 is here with the announcement of the Nike Vomero 18. No, that's not a typo that I just read on the teleprompter here. While the Vomero won't drop until February 2025, it won't actually be a sneakerhead staple until 2035, as per the rules of how runners become fan favorites beyond the running community. See the Vomero 5 and the Asics Gel Cayano 14 as recent examples of this phenomenon. While the Vomero 18 lacks the leather overlays of the Vomero 5 that allowed the sneaker to pull off colors and variations that don't feel possible on an all-mesh upper, I think the chunky look of the midsole, which features a combination of Zoom X and React X foam, could be something that future sneakerheads gravitate towards. See, by 2035, we will have gone through the chunky runner shoe cycle of popularity at least once and surging in hype right now on time for the 18's retro. Anyway, before we get to the pick of the week, we here at Hard Pass would like to address a current meme going around in the sneaker community right now. There is a new Nike Air Force One that is set to release in 2025 from what is being called the Sea Glass Pack. Now, the sneakers feature a removable TPU cage. The feature itself might seem novel, but it's actually something we've seen from Nike previously, most notably on a collab with Acronym where you could 3D print your own heel clip and bolt it to a Blazer Low. Now, that's not why the Sea Glass Air Force One is being talked about. No, it's a topic of conversation because the oozing design of the removable piece and their translucent appearance has brought out the jokes from the community, to which I would say, good job, people. I and Hard Pass will not be participating in any of the jokes because, let's be honest, it's Sunday and the meme will probably already be dead by the time this goes live and something else will have taken its place. But we are just glad that we were able to laugh at something so unbelievably silly and pointless at a time like this. The social media roasting was not unlike the halcyon days of the Chef Currys or taking a picture of your bread 11s next to loaves of bread. Look, it was a simpler time, and I'm glad we got to relive some of that, if only for a brief moment. It's great when the sneaker community can Actually, no, I'm going to move on. I do expect to see these at the feet of people walking into the 18 and up section at Anime Expo the next time that's in LA to go along with the silk shirts that I honestly can't believe are allowed out in public. The pick of the week is the Jordan Jumpman Jack Mocha on the 26 for $200. So when the Jordan Jumpman Jack first started to pop up online, there was plenty of chatter about whether or not Travis Scott could sell a retro or a non-retro rather of a Jordan sneaker. I mean, he's kind of done it before with the Cactus Jack Air Jordan 33, but the Jumpman Jack was his own signature Jordan product. Turns out all of that talk was just that, talk, because the Jumpman Jack has sold quite well. It might not be pulling in the same numbers on the resale market, but this is a new product line for the brand, and I'm going to guess they're happy with the results so far. All of this is to say that any speculation that Travis and Jordan are slowing down their partnership was nothing more than wishful thinking, present company included. I'm pretty sure we've talked about that here on the show. Oh, sorry. Let's get back to the sneakers. Yeah, it's a mocha-colored Jordan Jumpman Jack. That's really nothing more there needs to be said about that. His WWE connection, however, let's talk about that. So Travis Scott was, of course, a big part of Complex Con. The second Cactus Jack was a big present at the event, and it even included a cameo from none other than the chief content officer of the WWE, Triple H. Trips and several WWE superstars were in attendance to help promote the premiere of Monday Night Raw on Netflix in January, and it concluded in, of all places, Travis's performance. The former world champion appeared to give Travis with a new version of the legendary WWE Hardcore Championship, a title made famous by the original Cactus Jack, Mick Foley. The belt wasn't the only thing that was teased, because it looks like Travis will be making an appearance during the first episode of Raw on Netflix, so everybody get your screenshots ready, because you know he's going to be rocking either a new colorway of his Jumpman Jack signature shoe or a brand new pair that we might not even be thinking about. Personally, I'm hoping for an in-person segment between Travis and Mick so they can do the Spider-Man meme. Remember the days when WWE was suing Travis over the use of Cactus Jack's name? Seems like a long time ago. All right. It's time for this week's Hard Pass. We'll take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go. Like co-writer's hot take that inside the NBA closing up shop was a good thing, because it looks like we will be seeing Chuck, Ernie, Kenny, and Shaq for the foreseeable future. After Warner Brothers Discovery, which runs TNT, lost their NBA rights package that they've had longer than most of us have actually been alive, the assumption was that this would be the final season of Inside the NBA, the iconic program that became the gold standard of not just sports studio shows, but all studio shows. The news, it was met with a lot of sadness in the sports world, because in a constantly evolving game of rotating chairs at every other show, TNT's Big Three, that eventually became the Big Four when Shaq joined the crew, was a constant. And even when you did get a show that had hosts who have been together for years, none of them have been able to replicate the authenticity and chemistry of the Inside guys. And yet, despite that obvious love and affection that everybody seemingly has for the crew, here comes hating-ass co-writer actually breathing a sigh of relief that it was supposed to end after this season. Seriously, the nerve of this freaking killjoy. Hey now, check out the fun please, over here not wanting to have fun. Like, he can get boring sports analysis anywhere else. Why does he want to come into our world and ruin our fun? Like, where else are you going to get bits like who he play for, or Gone Fishing, or Ernie's Neato Stats of the Night, which is unsullied by sponsorship since the beginning of time. Now, he is quick to defend himself and say that he loves Inside the NBA and that no show will probably ever come close to replicating what they were able to do at their peak. His argument was that it was better for the show to bow out while they were still at their apex, instead of doing it years down the road when the juice was gone and the jokes were stale. But he's also said on record that Inside was already on the decline, and that it could be pinned to two very specific reasons.
Kenny was great out the box. He was great. He had several years of great bits. It's just gotten old and long in the tooth, as they say. And Shaq is also plug and play to a certain degree, but also, like, you want him, like, in spurts. Like, him in the situation where he's always there. And I get it, he likes to be a center of the attention and all that stuff, but I always felt like Shaq, on TV, not on the basketball. Basketball, he needs to be there. He's a big man. He's, most dominant ever and all that stuff. But as a personality, I always felt he was better as the guy who makes, like, the random cameos or just goes in there. He's like a heat check guy. He, like, he's like the sixth man. Like, you throw him in there for like 5 minutes and he does all his best stuff and then bounces.
That was from an episode of our podcast, Too Hard to Pass. Check it out every Tuesday at 2 p.m. for more wild takes from co-writer, while I continue to be the voice of reason. Anyways, co-writer is right about one thing, though. Inside the NBA will end someday, but it's not going to be after this season, because ESPN has licensed the show and will be using them for the pregame, halftime, and postgame coverage for signature dates during the regular season, and then all throughout the postseason, including the NBA Finals for the first time ever. That's right. While the schedule will change and we'll probably see them less overall, Chuck, Kenny, and Ernie will be bringing their show to the finals. That's going to be gold, man. The best part is that TNT will continue to produce the show independent of ESPN, so all of the amazing staff who has helped make the show the well-oiled machine that it is will be on board. There is one caveat to all of this, however. Notice we only mentioned 3 of the big 4. That's because the big fella needs a new contract, and Shaq, ever the wise businessman, is probably going to be asking for a huge bag to keep the party going. Considering the real-life friendship these guys have, Shaq leaving doesn't seem likely. But what if he doesn't sign? Then co-writer actually wins because he gets what he wants. His other hot take was that Inside was actually at its peak prior to Shaq becoming a regular. But that's a story for another time, like next week's podcast, probably. Regardless, this is welcome news to fans of Inside. So, to close out the show, here are some of our collective favorite moments from the TNT era of Inside the NBA as they head into a brave new world at ESPN. Here's hoping they get Stephen A. Smith for a few crossover appearances next season, because the one time they did last year for the in-season tournament was amazing. First up, Kenny getting his jersey retired. Next, Shaq's long-running Shaqton feud with JaVale McGee. The Champions Club, shout out to Mike Penberthy. Chuck picking Allen Iverson in the all-time NBA All-Star Game draft first. The coverage of the Clippers and Rockets locker room fight at Staples. Kenny imitating Kobe jumping over the Ashton Martin with his own hyper dunks. Ernie Johnson casually saying, "We're all black friends." Shaq's journey through gas mathematics. Oh, one more. Ernie hosting a golf tournament with a crew called the Black Masters. Oh, this one. Kenny getting a chairlift after failing to clear the steps to the big board. Chris Webber, the 5th chair they always needed, running through the tape. Chuck guessing Stacey Augmon, a.k.a. Plastic Man, played for the New Orleans Heat. Chuck having no shame in his game, apparently getting everything waxed. Chuck reading anything you put on the teleprompter like he's Ron Burgundy. Chuck's love-hate, but really just love relationship with Krispy Kreme. Shaq, it's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, back to 1, dumbass. And then Gary Payton roasting Kenny, probably ensuring he'll never be a 5th chair, to be honest. Anyway, with the NBA really getting their lunch eaten by the NFL, I mean, they got Beyonce to perform on Christmas Day for a regular season game. They needed a win like this. Inside the NBA might not pull the numbers that an NFL pregame show can, but none of those shows have the cultural relevance that Chuck, Ernie, Shaq, and Kenny bring. Those shows are being watched with the volume turned down as the fans get ready to wait for the games to start. When people watch Inside, they do it with the same attentiveness that they would for an actual game. Why? Because you never know what the crew might bring to the table, and that still counts for something. So good on TNT and ESPN for working something out. Kind of wild that neither NBC nor Amazon got ahead of ESPN and threw the bag at Chuck to make this happen. Really, the only person that lost here is co-writer, and that just means all's right with the world. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you for watching Hard Pass. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week. And if you'd like to possibly be featured in a future episode, call us at 818-493-9325. Leave us a short message, your socials if you want, no more than 30 seconds. All right, I'll see you next week. Also, be sure to check out Too Hard to Pass on Sunday. Did I say Sunday? I meant Tuesday. Look, I'm trying to tell you guys, look, the podcast is on Tuesday. I said Sunday, but this show comes out on Sunday. What I really meant was Tuesday, and this is a very long ending, all just to tell you to watch the Too Hard to Pass podcast on Tuesday. Yeah, that's the day. Peace.